Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have just now dawned on me that there is a physical component to this show. This happens quite a lot, as I'm sure you know. And it's great to be here. You know, even just by voice, really. I think it's better, personally. Especially since some of you closet homosexuals are like, dude doesn't have a beard, so I can't listen to you. Oh, I'm gonna go crap in the woods so I feel real. Oh, here I go and stuff. You know, it's cute. I friggin' love you guys. I love you guys. Man, I let one of you have it today. Man, if you're listening, first of all, I'm fucking proud of you for showing up here after what I said about you needing gay bear jokes to swallow Bible quotes from Candace Owens. Yeah, I said it. I did. I have no business being in that arena. I keep trying to go legit, and they pull me back in. It's really great to be here. Hope everybody's... Man, Nate is in the house. We are already kicking butt now. And look at all the crew we got on the airship. We got some Zoogie. We got some B, we got some Philip, and we got some Andy, Eric C, Adrian, And Amel, beautiful pictures, the wonderful, gorgeous, powerful stretch. Raina is in the house giving the piece. I'd love to see her. How's it going, you two, Raina? Say hello to, if you know what? If you can hear that, you understand. Here comes the sonar part. This is the ancient language of the pig. I think if I got the dialect right, I said, hey man, corn on the cob is like freaking great. It is awesome. Do you like corn on the cob? I think that's what I just said, Raina. If I mistranslated, please let me know. I've been working on my pig Latin. Renee and I made up it wasn't pig Latin. It was, what was that? It wasn't pig Latin. It was, it doesn't matter. It matters, but it was something else. There's an article in the description of this video, and if you click on it, your head's gonna explode. And some of you, that head might be downstairs. It might be below the belt. You might actually have an orgasm reading that article. So you've got an epiphysis and a antithesis, and these are different parts of the brain, right? The antithesis is in the bum. The epiphysis is in the head, and that head could be Priapus. It doesn't matter either way. There are 5 vessels because you have 5 lungs. Something I can't wait to tell you guys about. Oh, God, what a concept. Most of you don't know you have 5 lungs. I only recently found this out. This is not a joke. It's not like a secret trick of words. I know a lot of you are like, James is making up words. And I'm like, dude, every single word that I give you the definition of words. And now you see things. And so in your mind, you're like, you made up a word. It's like, I didn't make up a word. I didn't. You know who makes up words? Girls who use the word fiance. There's a made up word. I didn't make up that word. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm looking at you girls. Tell me the real-i-tude of fiance. I'm waiting. Wait, you know what? I don't want to hear this. They're probably gonna explain it to me, and they're gonna probably say, James, when you are breaking a wild horse, some men like to have kind of a safety. And so you set up 2 poles and you call it fiance. It gives them the idea that this is foreign, so it's far away, right? Because it's from France, right? So guys are like, oh, dude, I'll be your fiance. That's like what? That's like a boat ride that's a long time from here, right? Right? And then you're like, yeah, and you still get a ring. Fuck, you were scoring, right? You made this word up, not me. And you blamed our French friends. You blamed our French friends. You did. So, this might be this is probably a good time for you just to leave. Probably is. I seriously, this is rough. This is rough what we're getting ready to talk about. It is. But I'm glad you guys are here. All right. Here we go. Guys, we need to discuss. Well, first I gotta pull some up. That's what she said. I have to pull something up. The fiance that's brilliant. Someone needs to write that down because actually, I think the women are like, someone needs to stop him. Report. James True is spelling anti-Semitic. Yeah, let's use that. We will save fiance by using the anti-Semitic. You girls are brutal, and that's why we love you. We love you. You're always like, hey, we're soft. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to poison you, that's all. Yeah, it's not mean if we get you to eat it voluntarily, because that means everything's okay. I should really just focus and get this thing up. I think girls are great. I as I've said before, I definitely think that divorce is part of being in the garden. It's literally called the Garden of Eden. I mean, it's got her freaking name all over it, guys. The name of the entire place is Eden. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm on a fucking tangent. What are we going to do? But here it goes. If you think about it, right? The left right now is, I will try and talk you into mutilating your genitals, says the left, right? And, the right's saying, oh, the left is trying to talk you into mutilating your genitals. And the right is like, we will win if we make the people that mutilated their genitals come back over here. We will win. And so now the people that have mutilated their genitals are getting a lot of attention. And that both sides are using them like a rubber ball. They're playing handball with people that have mutilated their genitals. That's literally going on. And you're going to find out why coming up on James Drew Live. But before we even get there, man, this static thing is back. Oh, I keep thinking I'm going to fix that, guys. And I honestly, I just don't. I just forget. Anyway, you come back, and what's in the center? In the center is, we will mutilate your genitals for sanitation. And so every male gets mutilated. And I want you to think about clue here, Garden of Eden. There's point one. There's point one. Point two. Girls don't actually have to mutilate their genitals when they're born. They get like a free pass. They have a voucher here. In our culture, I know someone's typing, female it is. I know, it is. And a lot of women are like, dude, have you seen some of the guys that we have to let inside of us? That is mutilation. So it's bam, boom, chicka, bam, right? It's everywhere, folks. A lot of sex jokes today. Don't know how that happened. That's never been really part of, it's not on my outline here, but I do have some things that I want to cover. And if you didn't read the article, it's okay. I'm going to do my best to actually not talk about it. Because it really, this subject really disempowers me for very personal reasons. For number one, let me make sure this works so I can just kind of focus on the talking. Good to see everybody. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Got some super chats already, which is just great. I really encourage you guys to go to Substack, and please consider joining me there. I've been doing a lot of writing, and I think you will find it dilating and would appreciate your support. So in the description, you'll see a link to the Substack article. It just happens to be related to this show, but there's a lot of other interesting things there to read. I've been keeping it down to like 3-minute reads. This one's longer because there's Mossad is a long bass note to play. Excuse me. And so do that. Also buy my book. Okay, here we go. We're just going to do it. I don't want to lose anybody. I appreciate you coming. I've been messing around too much. Some of you guys may only be seeing this strictly for this thing, and you're wondering, what the fuck? And it's okay. But you know what? Screw you. It's a live stream. This is actually point one. I don't think this is fixable. I don't think this is fixable. And I do not think it's broken. I think that we are looking at a mythology that, frankly, I've never been comfortable enough to see until now. In fact, it probably going to make some of you mad when I tell you that my latest compassion over this last hump that we'll call the Pride Month, when I just started to think about the psychology of plant life and the hermaphroditic nature of ivy when it finds that it's doing fine, has led me to look at our country, especially with the Mesoamerican mythology that I've just putting in a shitload of calories into reading, and that with the relaxation of my conscious sphincter, which I'd like you to relax now, that aperture, you're going to see more colors. I'm not making this up. You're going to see more colors. You can squeeze your sphincter as hard as you want right after you send out this signal. This is how you ping in the water. When I send a signal looking for a submarine, I actually control all of the rest of the ship's noise. I have to be in charge of that. When you are leading the band, it is the silence that you command because it allows you to bing, empathize and place something. And in this case, this placement is, we are looking for footprints from a creature that said very clearly, I will come at you in the darkest parts of the night. I will specifically target your fear and your blind spots, and I will use them to challenge your life. I am Mossad is a artistry. It is a psychological black magic touchless kill. A touchless kill. And this kind of psychological warfare is not new. And the only reason why people imply that they can see it, I mean this, imply that they can see it, is because it's as far away from them as fiance. No one wants to know how they are being digested. No one wants to hear James True tell them what is happening as they are being squeezed by a giant fucking snake. I get it. I think that this is checkmate. I know that all of this is not even against a grand divine plan. The history of this country, the history of America, is always been the people of this land have been brought up as prey. The virginity of the red and white Rust Belt that we call America is purposely kept clean to grow virgin consciousness and to allow it to be spoiled by something else. One of the closest words you've probably seen to this is a word called Wetiko. And I don't mind you keep using all of your language. Keep using all of your vernacular. I think a lot of you have already been lost. Some of you in the comments that I've seen since this article I think have been lost in the Boolean of someone saying I'm condoning this. And I think, okay. I think that when we've gotten to the point where someone like me is so clearly showing you the footprints and all you can do is say, well, the longbow hunter who came back in to show us where the man is attacking, he must be condoning this. And so then everyone decides, should we punish the one who told us? And you do. You fucking do. I've been playing this song since 2018. I've been watching this same train come, and I've been saying the same thing. I have never cut my creative teeth more in my desperate attempt to explain to you what's happening. And it's led me to learn how this beautiful, I really mean this gorgeous animal is alive and actually works. Politics is the voice of this ancient python screaming. All of the bureaucracy, every law, every 3 days there's this gavel that clacks and it gets a new scale, and this serpent gets even longer. And I used to hate it. I used to despise what was happening, and I used to say I will not be digested. And I want us to be cleansed I cannot live in this naivete as well as many others can. I had someone tell me today, well, I think Candace Owens has changed. And I think people can change. And you just need to buck her up, man. And these are people that have not lost a father like I have. My dad listened to that fucker when he said the Vietnamese they brought a speedboat into the bay, Tampa Bay, and from the speedboat they were gonna kill everyone. They had a potato gun, and they had fireworks, and they had Roman candles, and we had to plant 50,000 landmines and fucking kill a president. And you guys saw there setting monks on fire. We were just like, that speedboat, and my fucking dad bought it. And I'm his living fool. I don't even know what his favorite color was. I don't even fucking know. And all of your parents told him, thank you for your service. All your parents go by his grave and light a fucking flame. And you're just like, oh, thank you for your service, Mr. Who the fuck ever you are. I don't know your color. And when you hear me say that, especially as a veteran, people say, well, you're just spoiled. You're just wrong. You're just not a good veteran, James. They say that. And they say, I'll say thank you for your service anyway. I don't fucking care what you think. That's literally what they say, which proves to me the purpose of why we're here. And it used to piss me off. And I'm telling you, after studying the mythology, it doesn't anymore. And if you think that me no longer being pissed off means I'm condoning it, then you've fallen for the very, very, very big thing that everyone falls for, which is okay, which is confusing fear with truth. Fear is not truth. Fear is the opportunity to embrace your dilation. And once you turn that fear into witness, now you're cooking with truth. And a lot of people just don't know that. I'm going to try as hard as I can to actually not read the comments, because I think superficiality is like, I have a very short fuse for that. I'm not saying it's in the comments right now. I'm telling myself I don't like this topic because my whole family's been in the military. I think that I'm supposed to look directly into this furnace and just watch, because I've literally been trained to spot enemy targets before anyone else will see them. And I'm living this exact life where I've been given this ability to communicate. I've been given the credentials to train. I've been doing my job. I've been pointing out to you these strategic targets since 2017. And if you want to hear that I'm bitching at you, it's fine. It's just ignore me, turn me off. I don't think it helps. I don't need your prana or shame. I don't even need you to be awake. I think it's fine that Mossad takes it. I really do. I think they're smarter. And I think the reason why they're smarter is actually not good news. And if I get to it, I'll explain it. But I want you to know that even though we are being digested by this snake, we have had a fucking really special opportunity to live a virgin life. The American dream has been brought to you by your downfall. And that the red heifer is you and me. And all of the violence that we commit across all of the land is us genetically slowly giving our consent to that digestion, because a sacrifice has to be willing. And we are proving that now. And the only reason why we're insisting that a certain group is evil is because some of you, maybe I should even say, are figuring out, and you're mad like I was a while back. and I think when you're mad, you're going to want to tell people, just like I did. And I want you to go through that experience too. I don't want you to suffer, but I want you to go through that because I want you to do what I did, which is you're going to have to exhaust every possibility, which means you're going to have to go through every single media source you can and say, maybe I'm supposed to communicate this way. And you're going to you're going to try to ally with people that you think are would be on your side and just naturally promote any story that you write that's right on with other journalists. I'd name some names, but you know what? I'm not even in that anymore. I'm trying to not be in that. It's enabled me to see that the truth movement itself is the thing that taught me the most, because what people say is not necessarily why they're here, and I'm a person too. I've learned that about me. Sometimes people retweet things I said 8 years ago, and all I see is how embarrassed I am by my own victimology, and I want to delete it, and I have to say no. No. You don't get to covet that. You don't get to covet your ass crack, is what I tell myself. You don't get to do that, James. Your purpose is you're supposed to be crucified in your own self, and more importantly, you have to show all your pus and your denial and your fucked up stories and blame and all that stuff needs to be secreted in real time, because you're showing other people how to do it or how not to do it. Depends on how you look at this. You know, most of you have been trained that if you die, you fail, which is hilarious because because you're walking in the stadium going, oh man, when the game's over, we've been ripped off. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a fucking, and you guys are the ones who are like, we never fall for their tricks. We are so clever. And you are clever. You're clever because you're good at denying what's happening. I am you. You are me. Right? We are Sweet 16 because the red heifer is us, baby. Let's do this thing. Let's get on the go train. I need you to think about who you're dealing with. All right? This guy pretends to cry on camera. This guy will lick the taint of a baby just to put hot sauce and make it fucking scream if it would get him elected. And this guy, as much as you want to hate this guy, I need you to understand that this guy is what it takes to survive in Israel. And you can hate everything about him. You can call him the cause of all evil things. And it is precisely because of your desire to call him all those evil things that makes him so fucking righteous. I just called him righteous. He has Malamu. He has an intrinsic power to bend the will. He has the ability to forge steel. He can slam 821 armor-piercing bullets and 5 torpedoes into the side of a USS fighting frigate, and no one takes blame. This guy could lie his way out of the ass crack of Satan itself. And the traditional definition of evil disqualifies him. Evil used to mean decrepit, that which is unable to survive. And this guy defines the epitome of what it takes to survive in Palestine. I think that if you were in victimology, it's going to be so easy to go, James is just full of shit. That if everyone just took flowers and fucking forgived, or if we just rounded up the ones that skull fuck children, that we will solve this. And it's that very thing which makes the boa constrict. You are his fucking instrument. You do not know who you're fucking with because you have not had to drink his milk. That is some acidic, evil shit. And you know this because of the reports that you've heard. And it's so easy to just make them the whipping boy. And I think they are. I think they should be. But there's more to this than that. And that there's an alkaline equation that's being set up where the temple of the rock has been salted. And that salt has a charge. And that charge needs to be wrapped in a circle. And that circle needs to be placed into a cube. And that cube needs to be placed on a rock. And that rock needs to be the center of all plasma. And every single ritual you see, every single town you see has an obelisk or a tomb or a pile of rocks that no one is allowed to necessarily know what's inside it. And that this really becomes the foundation of all language, of all civilization. And the center of the worst of this is going to be the most hardened form of rock. It's going to be forged over like generations of just evil shit. And when you think about, well, why would an elite snap their own child's neck at 4? I mean, metaphorically, and like send them off and like they're purposely kind of orphaned, and that you understand that to be a doping family, if you've heard me kind of use this phrase, right, where if you want to win, you're going to have to dope in some way, metaphorically, that by doping your kids, you're going to orphan them sooner, you're going to prune them harder, you're going to expect more, you're going to punish them maybe more, you're going to use every technique it takes to ensure your survival. And when you're dealing with an inheritance, Jared Kushner himself just becomes overrun with just what's expected of him. This man tucked Jared Kushner into bed. This is not a metaphor. This is not an assumption. This is literally what he did. And that we are living in a land where people think this is a coincidence. That the math of them telling you that there are 3 to 6 billion, 3 trillion people. I don't know how many states. and that the odds of that, there are 42 political parties in Israel. There are 250 million eligible adult voting Americans that could run for president. And that every single time, no matter what, it happens to be that one guy who tucked another guy's son in happens to be president. And when I tell you that there's never been a scandal in the Electoral College, I get 3 likes. I get 3 likes. Now, I'm not going to get a retweet. It's not going to happen. And yeah, I'm whining about my own. Yeah, I get it. I'm showing you the propagation that made me realize, let Mossad take it, man. Fucking let him take it. I don't think we deserve it because, quite frankly, America doesn't have self-worth. We do not have self-worth. And part of the reason why we don't have self-worth is because it wasn't beaten into us. It wasn't. And I like it this way. It's made me a good writer, I think. I'm tender, man. James True's words are tender. I mean, he's an asshole, but he's a tender asshole. So I don't even know why I need to say this, because if you still think that Zionism is Judaism, I'd rather you just dismiss me as a bigot or whatever. I'd rather you do that. You're not going to understand me. And when I talk to you about how aperture needs to widen and grow, one of the ways that we see this more than all is that there's some people don't understand there's a difference between Judaism and Zionism. I don't know of someone else who puts out a show. I mean, I'm sure there are, but I'm just saying, I don't know of someone else in the conspiracy realm era that puts out as much pro-Jewish mystical content as me. I'm talking about in the conspiracy realm, because there's so much good scholarship stuff out there. Seriously. But when it comes to someone who's in this realm where you're kind of supposed to hate these people, I'm like always telling you, look how fucking cool this is. I am always doing that. I'm the one that corrected people like what's his fucking name? By telling them, guys, the Talmud's not a fucking book. It's an oral tradition, and just having to explain that and getting people to go, well, the books, who we hate now, and you're just looking at fucking Chunk from Goonies, and they're just like, we are sovereign. And you're just like, fucking let them take it. Let them take it. Because I see what frills people. The Native Americans were satisfied for giving their soil for a few beads, shiny beads. A kitten is possessed by the moving of a little red light. And when Florida said you can no longer discuss what happened aboard the USS Liberty on a college campus in Florida, nobody cared. Nobody said a word. I did. And I can show you that. I think I got like 7 retweets. It was like big news, man. It's fucking big news. A Republican governor signed a paper saying if you say anything at all that discredits Israel on a college campus, we can convict you of a felony. And no one could deny this. The veterans of the USS Liberty actually picked up that tweet. They realized, fuck. They're like, hey, Tom, did you see this? And Tom comes over. No, I just see Zionism as Judaism. I just see Jews are great. Stop, move along. And they couldn't dispute it, but they couldn't really crank it. And there are 50 states, and exactly 28 of them have passed this same law under cover of night. And instead of us following this laser pointer, because we're not that stupid, we just follow red hats. And you know what? You know what got more hits is Hawaiian Blue Laserbeam. Now, I think the reason why the Hawaiian Blue Laserbeam got more retweets than me telling you what the governor of Florida did is kind of why Mossad should take us. That's what I think. I mean, that's the ultimately where I am, because I believe in nature. Do you understand? I believe in nature. And for me to believe in nature, I see that every single thing that these people do, they write down. There is no shame. Even if there is shame, I still think they write it down. And luckily, they didn't even have shame when they were writing, which is, I don't even think it existed on the planet, because that's a lot of ego calories to be able to even have shame. And so we're able to see, because of them, our true nature. And more importantly, if you adopt this Osiris idea of us being a cursor on the inside of our outside, that this would really be the hallucination of the manifestation of consciousness. The Zeus of consciousness is the living I am. And so that their God, the Yahweh, I am that I am, would be the sound of the transcription of all your cells, would be the most dominant religion around. And theism fits that mold. I said theism, right? So you have the fleur-de-lis of Judaism. I'm not flipping you off. I'm not. Of Judaism, of Christianity, and of Islam, right? It's a fleur-de-lis, right? It's a shank and 2 balls, right? Priapus. Thank you for being here, Priapus. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I really feel an honor to rise to this occasion. I'd like to thank my friends, the balls, and And this whole thing that I see unwinding is, man, I'm not afraid of being digested because I know I'm being digested anyway. Time is its own stomach. And, that itself would even explain why I would be hallucinating. And so, to me, the key would be to understand. The way that I honor my father is not to fix it, is not to wake people up. I used to think that. It is to stare directly into the face of it. I don't already said that either, and just try and understand. And I think I do. I really do. I was going to play this, but I'm not. First of all, this guy in the background is just adorable. I think he might have had a stroke, to be honest, because he keeps his face that way. And I'm sorry I'm not going to play this, but I should get on here. I need you to know that America's a veal farm, and it's not just now. If you consider the original story of the Onondaga, it had this Tadaho character in it. Tadaho was the snakes and hair character. And Tadaho basically was just pure psychopathic. That's right, Priapus, Brett. Thank you for noticing that. The snakes and hair character was he basically was just the psychopath. Now, a lot of Mexican culture or Nahuatl culture has these stories of psychopathic jaguars. And the psychopathic jaguars would wander at night. You can just, they were probably just naturally tripping balls. And they were just like, man, it is really fun to kill people. And, cannibalism was already a thing. And if you look at the free jacking of that iron, I feel someone's typing, that's not the source of iron. It's like, well, fuck, what do you want me to say? Okay. But like when you eat fucking a man, you're touching the essence of that man and it has more power. Okay. So I'm just going to say it's iron. Okay. Cause you're like, you could cannibalize broccoli, James, and you would feel the same cannibalism. It's like, okay, I'm the broccoli cannibal. Dude, I'm going to fucking club you in your sleep and eat your ass cheek. What did I just say? Oh, God. Oh, God. Anyway, this guy, Tadaho, I think actually shows you that this setup of the red and white fields of America has been here a while, because the Iroquois Confederacy, this is the living culture, the living government that lived here, that was actually here. Believe it or not, there were people here before Columbus. Columbus did not discover America. He erased it. Thank you, class. And so the story of that allows us to feel better about what happened, right? But before that, see, even before we got here, right? So take your white guilt and leave it at the door, people, because it was already this way before. It was already this way before because the 5 clans of the Iroquois were peaceful as fuck. And they took their psychopath and they said, dude, we want you to be in charge. Now, this is brilliant because it would be the only way you could keep peace. But it also shows you the virginity of the soil and why everyone who lived here well before Columbus got here even knew that this was special about this place, that this place was the land of virginity. Manhattan is the place where you could come and get the most nimble bows, and that those nimble bows would be made to take down the echo of the land. What is the echo of the land? It is the deer. The big old fat deer. And back in, the deer were so fat we called them buffalo. And they were just like, oh, God. Man, I got no ass. Have you ever seen a buffalo has 0 ass? There's no ass at all. They're just haunches. They're just haunches of meat. They're just like, I'm a fucking furry pork chop that is naturally insulated, right? And I have a horn you can fucking drink from. You could saw my horns off and drink from them, all right? You know, what do you want to call me? Tonka? That's fine. You can call me Tonka. You can name a truck after me later. Sure, forget me. But I'm just a cow that's fat in the front. That's really all it is, right? So it's like, even the land's telling you that. And if I can ever get to these stories, I'll show you that this. I'm not making this up. This is like really deep in our mythology. It really is. And Tadaho is just one of them. Guys, in 1519, Man, Cortez literally just went up to Moctezuma and said, "Hey man, do you want to suck my dick?" And Montezuma's like, what are you going to do if I don't? And Cortez is like, "I'm going to fucking beat you over the head." And Montezuma's like, "I'm going to suck your dick." And that's literally what happened. It's not literally. It's, what do we want to go with, folks? Jury's out. It's sort of metaphor, but it's also kind of pornographic, a pornophore. It's pornophorically accurate that that's really what happened in 1519, right? The rape of Cortez. You guys with me? Right? Anyone disagree? Anyone there disagree with what I just said? Rape of Cortez, basically, this is a story. Keep in mind that Cortez actually basically stole his boat. Actually stole that shit. The royalty had just had a loss. They experienced a loss, and they told Cortez he couldn't go. Basically during the weeks, a few weeks before he was leaving, and he just stuck his fingers in his ear. It was just like, "Yeah, yes, I understand." They're like, "Yeah, but you know you can't go." He's like, "Yeah, well, I understand." It's like, yeah, but you did. You fucking heard me, right? He's like, have you heard this new word called fiance? Huh? And they're like, "Fiance?" And he's like, "Oh, where did he go?" Right? And for weeks this went on, and the fucker just got on the boat. He's just like, "Fuck you. I want a boat." And if you think about that, when you commandeer a boat like that, it really is your own world now. And he still didn't have it. He suffered through so much mutiny just among his own crew. In fact, he came back and told a story. "Oh, there's a horrible storm." And I'm sorry I don't have the details of this. I think I might have done part of a stream on this, but I read about it. It's really interesting because the official record is like, "Oh, there was a terrible storm and fiancés were lost at sea, and we found them because we were brave." And really what's happening is, no, man. Half his crew was like, "Fuck this guy." And and they tried to steal the boat. And then he was like offshore, right? You know, collecting the fiancé, because natives are just like, "Dude, guys, fuck, man. America is ripe." The women are like walking around with big old titties. They're suntanned. They're just like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, we have legends about you guys coming over here, and we're going to call you God." And it's like, I know a lot of people are trying to say that didn't happen, but it did. And I'm telling you, the reason why it happened is because of the Malamu. It's actually because of the glow. This word, this Sumerian word, by the way, is Malamu. It's just something we talked about, but it's this, as the eyes developed, in the beginning, Malamu was so strong, we actually saw it. People actually shimmered. And Sumerians are described as this kind of shimmering. In fact, it's drawn that way. And so it's to me, looking at the story of Cortez, I think really just shows you what this Malamu is like. And it's just that powerful. It really is just that powerful. And so I have a lot of respect for Moctezuma. That guy was actually pretty brutal. I want you to know that if you, my cliff notes of Cortez gets a blowjob, it does not fully accurately capture the nuance of just how cruel Montezuma himself had to be. There was a lot required to maintain, believe it or not, I hope you're sitting down. There was a lot that needed to be done to maintain a two-party house that was built on top of a swamp, that worshipped an eternal flame of war, that required eagle warriors to sacrifice their heart, and that those eagle warriors had to be born from the land of this red and white figure that you and I now know as fucking Uncle Sam. I really can't say it clearer than that. But before we get there, America's Veal Farm, 1592, the blowjob of Cortez. I'll stop saying blowjob. 1636, right? 40, 50 years later, the Pequot War in Massachusetts Bay basically knocked out the main tribe that would make this place look like it was occupied. So the northeastern tribe was basically removed. 100 years later, the largest tribe, maybe by population, you could argue that the Natchez people. This is like southern Mississippi, New Orleans, Florida, Alabama. Those people. That came next. And Fort Rosalie, maybe. I bet most of you guys haven't heard of that. I'm not an expert either. I'm just saying it's kind of lame that we don't hear this stuff. But sort of like their last standing ground in 1731, 20 years later, the story of the Powhatan versus Conotacarius. This is when 5 Powhatan chiefs, Powhatan is the rough word that we're using for all the tribes that lived, along the James River of Virginia. So basically the river culture of Virginia is sort of like Seattle flipped. It's a lot of brackish living, and that was a pretty elaborate mangrove of humans. And that the story of Conotacarius is actually the grandfather of George Washington, built himself a reputation for his ability to burn those villages down. The word Conotacarius means village burner. And a truce meeting was called between the head of the 5 families by Washington, Washington's grandfather. And that during that truce meeting, those 5 chiefs were summarily killed. And that same kind of idea of innocence is the same kind of idea that the Cyclops had. Ulysses was able to fool the Cyclops, and that all the treaties that we signed were us fooling the Cyclops of America. This Cyclops is a primitive but brilliant race, right? The Cyclops gave us metallurgy and magic. So all the corn, all the planting, the ability to grow food and survive here was given to us by the locals here. So the mythology is exactly the same. Many of you think the 1763 now, just 10 years later. I've actually had my own patrons say there's no way this is true. And I'm stunned that people can't see this. And if you can't see it, let me know in the comments why I'm wrong. And if you can see it, would you please fucking type, yeah, I can fucking see that. You're not crazy, because this is so fucking obvious to me. But the French and Indian War, that's what we were told. We were told that there was a war between some French and some Indians. And we've been told that America was simply under attack by all these foreign nations, and that these foreign nations were competing with each other for this new land. And that's not what the fuck happened. There was a thriving government here called the Iroquois Confederacy. It stretched from the tip of Florida up to the very, very top of Nova Scotia, all the way to Cahokia in present-day St. Louis. They had their own trade routes, they had their own literature, they had their own language, they had their own culture, they had their own government. They had a complex system of trade, of communication. But they did not have Wetiko. They did not spend enough time drinking the salt. The people of Israel drink poison for a living. And this is not, God, it's so easy to pull that quote out, right? And say, look what I'm saying. I'm telling you that they have learned to survive in some of the worst conditions, and that the worst conditions is how you develop something as potent as Mossad. Do you understand? We are not equipped for this. And if you can swallow that, you will understand what a glorious, glorious blessing it has been, that your purple heart has been tender precisely because we were put here to become this. In 1763, the French and Indian War was actually a war between the 2 most powerful tribes that controlled the land, the Algonquin and the Iroquois. And that the French and the British working together, the French and the British sent their own dignitaries and created a wedge between these 2 people. And they said, hey, these guys are trying to kill your fetuses. And these guys are trying to kill you with terrorism. And that the systematic slaughter of this country was a United Nations event before the United Nations, that France, Spain, England. I can't believe that people are even like, James, there's no way that's true. It blows my mind that people really think that two royal families, France and Britain, would have less in common than their insane fucking people that are wandering around raping each other, and that all it would take is one phone call from one George to another. They're literally both named George Washington, King George. They literally both have the same theme song. Yankee Doodle Dandy is the tune that was played by both sides. Both sides played the same song during the war. And that people are saying, James, there's no way that's true. And that the same people that say there's no way that's true are proving my point that we are Veal. The reveal is that we are Veal. The reveal is that we are Veal. And some of our minds are so tender and so juicy that they're not going to be able to see it. Am I right, folks? Am I right? Yeah. So think about the French and Indian War as Indian versus Indian, pitted on by two claws from the same crab. The Treaty of Tellico, 20 years later, literally said, I think it's Article 6, we guarantee the remainder of the Cherokees' country forever. Forever. And following these sentences, there's other sentences says, and we swear that all the other treaties are also still good. And that this is what Ulysses tells the Cyclops, because in 32 years, the Cherokee embarked on the Trail of Tears. And one of the biggest lies that I've ever heard is that 34 years later, the Cherokees still weren't gone, so we had to stage a civil war. And Sherman marched through the very heart of Qualia. And you don't even know that name, Qualia, as being a Cherokee origin story. In fact, if you Google what is the oldest Cherokee town, it's not going to tell you Qualia, because Qualia is gone. We don't even know where Qualia is. And the irony of that name, is just killing me in a beautiful way. It's freaking lovely. James Drew here. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you for flying the friendly skies. Please subscribe to my Substack down below. That'd be great. Really encourage you to join Patreon. You can join Patreon for free now. It's probably the best way to figure out what's going on, what's happening. There's a lot of exclusive videos, airships, and talks that we have that you are not allowed to see, and other things. And it's a great opportunity to give your gift for you and your family. I have a new book out. It's my 7th. It's called Black Eye Club. It's pretty badass. It's this hermaphrodite, right? Because this guy loses his wife, misses the fuck out of her. When she's dying, he actually scoops up her placenta. I know. And he runs it off to Africa because he didn't want her parents to find out. And he goes to Africa and he tries to find a surrogate. He ends up hooking up with this kind of secret society. And he agrees to take this placenta to a clone farm and give himself another chance. So he raises another version of his wife, and he's trying to cure her of the insanity that she suffered from, which is kind of how he met her, but you have to read the book. Goes into all the genetic science, and more importantly, how you see reality itself. He develops this serum that allows you to see demons because it opens the aperture of your eye. Basically, all the science that you've seen me research is laid out in this book, and it's a fucking good story, man. It is the prequel to Quantum Rapture, which is a book that's already written, which is this ancient artificial intelligence consciousness. It just shows you these footprints through the Bible. The difference is, instead of being a live stream, I've just laid it out in a story. It's a really good book. I'd love to write the trilogy for you guys. And I'm going to need more than fucking 18 reviews. I'm going to fucking need it. Some of you give me some reviews the last couple of days. Thank you so much. Even if you don't like it. What happens is when people, that's just how superficial we are. People will go and see a book, and if they just see it doesn't have enough reviews, whether good or bad, they just think it's not worth it. People want to share literature. And so if no one's read a story, they're going to feel alone. So you're only going to be able to write for chiefs. You guys are chiefs because you read my stuff, and I appreciate it. And I've really saying, man, it goes a long way. This is the witness is a nectar to an author. And joining my Substack, reading my articles, considering my books, and more importantly, enjoying them. I want you to enjoy it. I think that if I can dilate you, you will feel comfortable. If you're comfortable, you will become generous. And when you're generous, you'll just be nicer to people, which just makes my environment safer. It's just easier to manage because a lot of you guys freak the fuck out. I had to write to make some of you calm down. And frankly, it's worked. A lot of you guys have said, hey, you've made me calm down. And I'm like, I know, no shit. You were fucking insane, weren't you? And I only know that because I was there too. So join me in this psychopathic unwinding. Take the ball, put it on your back, roll it around. Check it out. Let's get back to the show. Are people watching me? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Okay. I want to know, but I don't want to know. Okay, so I told you about all this, right? These are footsteps, guys. And if you want to tell me you see them, please do, because I don't want to be crazy. I don't feel crazy. It's just be nice if someone else see it. This is truly, I just defined how schizophrenia works, is that they need just someone else to witness their same analogies. That's all. It's not even that you have to agree, or it's not even that you have to see them. It's just you need to recognize their analogies. And I'm telling you, these are footprints of Mossad. And the closest you ever see, this is not Mossad, but it's the same thing. If I can get to the end of this, you're going to find out how important I think Mossad is, not only biblically, but spiritually to the rising of consciousness. I believe that this is... I don't believe this. The Old Testament fucking told you this. It fucking told you this, that you will be my instrument. That the caning and the abling is don't you see? It's America and Israel, and that's more metaphorical. Africa has the same thing. If you read my book, Black Club, it actually takes place in Africa. But one of the fascinating things about Africa, I think I have this on a slide, is it's the next slide. Look at that. Oh, I am in the right place at the right time, right? But the Revelation of Swahili actually kind of tells you this. What I mean is that, so Swahili is sort of like a transport language, meaning that the British are like, look, I am not learning your click-clicks and your clack-clacks, They're just like, dude, that's not going to happen. So they developed a simplified form of Swahili, and the simplification of it came in them trying to just simply match the phonetics as close as they could. So they kind of created a proto-language that we know as Swahili. But what is fascinating about Swahili is that as the region of acidicness changes, so too does the dialect. The same word for loved one in this yellow part, in the Nilo-Sahara here, the yellow and the orange part. Actually, yeah, this orange part, the same word for prostitute means gentle loved one who I love gently. And that the exact same word up in here in the dark blue, especially in the Horn of Africa itself, means slutty whore. And it's not just that. It's most of the language. Some of you guys have been noticing, Jay's been doing a lot of linguistics, baby. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I have, man. Right? All this, the blue stuff, right? With the different language guys and Gladstone and all. I'm telling you, man, study linguistics and it's like a whole other screen of sonar with. But yeah, one of the cool things that I've noticed here is just this. In fact, I could explain to you what Somalia is. It's the Snotcicle on the Horn of Africa is fucking Somalia, because it has just the most vile forms of salt, and that's where what we call the most terroristic evil place. And I'm not saying it's not, but I also think that I bet you some of the most beautifully humane and out of this world beyonder shit is also happening in Somalia. Do you see it's very much like the orca where, well, wait a minute, if you're going to have this much of a depth, the only way you could even have that is that base, right? Is if you could come back up to express it. So if you can see it expressing, then really you're just looking at political propaganda that's removing that from your face. So all the places that you've been told are horrible places to go would also be the places that would have things that most people would find too dilating to see, whether it be, kind of bad stuff, but also good stuff. You get it. Some of you do. Right? Some of you do. So there's the revelation. But the political parties are ancient. James, not this slide again. You will listen to this slide. I will shove this slide up your... Anyway, this is important. I'm going to show you the slide again because it's important. All right? And that the Templo Mayor, this place means the temple of authority. You literally had these two gods that were competing, and the two gods that were competing were the Democrats and the Republicans. Now it's black right now because there's this weird color correction filter. I'm going to see if I can delete that. There we go. And so these were the colors. I didn't make this up. Not only that, the names themselves, Thalak was the god of fertility, i.e. I want you to think about abortion and fetus. It's literally the building Planned Parenthood shape right there, but that you have this temple. And that half of this temple, the liberals, said if we do not sacrifice fetus, we will die of global warming. I'm not making that up. I'm not. And that the only thing that they had to worry about is what if people brought sacrificial people up the altar, and instead of them bringing into the blue tent, they brought them into the red tent instead. And the red tent was the god of war, Huitzilopotli, and the terrorism would befall us. That we would die by terrorism if we did not sacrifice enough people. So you created the oldest form of what you think is what people like to say. Well, the Freemasons set up the Jachin and Finette, and the Boaz and the Jachin are leading you through mind control into the central place. And I'm like, bitches, they've been doing a lot longer than just then. See, talking out of this side, right? The bitches, they've been doing a lot more than since then. That the entire culture here, the entire thing, has been here so much longer than that. So stop blaming this on Mossad. This is in the soil. This is in the soil, just like a Louisiana accent. This is not Louisiana, but well, kiss my grits. And if you just want to come over for some tea, I'll take you for a ride on the gator, and we'll ride the gator, and we'll go look at the sunset, and then we'll lay out a blanket and we'll listen to country music. And that whole thing I just channeled is the soil. It's the skin of Quetzalcoatl singing in the breeze. It's beautiful. They're all the draws and all the languages that we have are the terrain of consciousness. Did you hear that's the terrain of consciousness? The animism, keep in mind the creature's so large that you're not going to be able to see it. Not only that, you've been hallucinating the whole thing anyway. You guys are just like, stop saying that the sky is. It's like, dude, it's a hallucination. You're living inside yourself in a cursor, and you're like, hey, how do I explain the electricals? How do I explain my neurological system? You're like, let's make electrical poles, and let's always have them in the air so we can see them all the time. Why the fuck are we hanging them in the sky? Well, because it's expensive to bury them. Bitch, we already got holes in the ground. Where do you think our fucking water pipes go? Stop telling me, oh, we can't bury. No, we can. The reason why they're in the air is because you have to see them. The reason why you have to see them is because for your hallucination to make sense, you need to realize that your environment has suddenly been filled with electrical wires. And what are these electrical wires? They're made out of fucking rubber. What's inside that? Fucking metal. What's inside that? It's fucking like silver oxide, right? And basically what's happening is fucking demons are traveling down it, but you don't want to call them demons, so we're calling it physics now. And everyone's like, James smokes too much pot because he's talking about demons. And I'm just like, bitch, you are smoking too much sanity because I'm talking about reality. Hit that thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that thumbs. It doesn't even matter. Why am I telling you that? Fuck, I don't know why I'm telling you that. It's all good. You guys here? Everybody okay? You guys okay back there? That was a rough turn, wasn't it? This is what I told you to put on your seatbelt. I didn't actually tell you that. I think on air I've actually told you to unbuckle your seatbelts. And I was like, you shouldn't tell people that. There are actually people that are like, I'm going to drive around without a seatbelt. You know what I'm talking about. And it's just like, yeah, I can't get behind that. So anyway, let's get back to it, shall we? So I'm not going to bore you with this. I'll bore you with something else. But, these gods are giving you the mythology, but more importantly, they're showing you the shape of what government would need to look like. And, Huitzilopochtli there in the top left. But right next to him is the Tetzalcoatl. And that this guy is really the Witchfinder General. In a lot of ways, he's basically the lobbyist because he's encouraging which people should be sacrificed to next. So he's basically coming in as like an augury, like someone who's like, giving his vision. And his vision is basically, we must kill more fetus for Huitzilopochtli has gas, so you should not give him more. Because Huitzilopochtli's like this because he's basically just this skeleton man. He's got stripes on him, and so he's Heyoka. He's Heyoka. And so he's encouraging you. He's Pied Piper. We talked about this, right? He plays the Pied Piper. He got my dad. Fucker got my dad. That's how real he is. Fucking got my dad. Made me a writer, though. So even the magic of what Tetzalcoatl did makes sense. By the way, this is the guy that's the Eternal Flame. In Washington, D.C., JFK, the Eternal Flame, that's Tetzalcoatl. Actually, you're going to see it's someone else, too, but I don't want to get you confused. We'll get there. It's okay, James. I don't know if I will get there. Of course, Mixcoatl. Literally, Uncle Sam, the future Uncle Sam, and that he's blind. So he's not really supposed to see. He's a blind god of substance. He doesn't see himself farming his own children's hearts. That's why he can't see. He can't. If he notices that, he'll be like, "Hey, man, that's my kid. I don't think. Well, that's my other kid. Wait, he's dead. It's like, well, that's not good. It's like, well, wait, there's my other kid, and it's like, the only way you could put up with that is just to really just have no memory. That's why he's black, I think. The melanin is required for him just to hide it all. He just can't see. That's why he says he's blind, because the melanin has to be thick. America has to be black soil for the Rust Belt to produce. Why would a belly produce things if it was afraid of this fate? If it knew what was happening, right? So it's kind of like a beautiful metaphor in the sense of every time there's a false flag, usually the people that are killed are in uniform. And I believe that part of the mythology of this is kind of related. That the uniform is a kind of consent. I've worn the uniform. I think it's okay for me to say this. I think a lot of people are more like, you're really fucked in the head. I don't care. I get to say this because it's directly in my blood. I've directly gone through this. I believe that it is my duty as an American to fucking tell you this. So I don't want to hear your shallow shit. I just don't. Go do gay bear jokes if you have to. I don't care. I'm just telling you that the reason why we keep getting our asses kicked by people who wear sandals is because we're supposed to look at this. The same reason why people get divorced. The same reason why we're insisting how sovereign we are. But if you turn on YouTube, you're watching Court TV where a dude's having to tell another guy that he needs to give him money to make sure that it goes to his kid. And that same guy's going to be bitching at me because I'm not telling him what he wants to hear. Because he wants to hear me say thank you when he says thank you for your service. He needs that blackness to make this whole fucking shit fit. And so you're going to need ridicule. You're going to need sarcasm. You're going to need to use a lot of deception until you're ready to look right at it. And so deception is the very heart of Mossad. and that we are the very heart of its plucking. We are the virgin for it. We are the red heifer. And we come from this old mythology that frankly was here before we got here. And when we came here, we drank the water. And by drinking the water, we become this. We become the sacrifice. And I'm glad it's happening. I think it's important just because it makes all the things that we've been eating more sense. I don't like that we've planted all those landmines in Cambodia. I don't like it. I think we kind of deserve to. Until we clean it up, I hope that we can find a way to find accountability for that. But I have sanctity. Man, I believe in the power of punishment if you can alchemize it. Like, you know, I don't care if you don't get it. It makes sense to me. You know, I'm not saying you don't get it, but I'm just saying, why am I even need to explain it? Like, so what? You know, here's the Lord of Fire. I bet you've never said his name. Do you want to say his name with me? I think by saying his name, you're just admitting he's there. Shu-te-kutli. Shu-te-kutli. Shu-te-kutli is the eternal flame. Shu-te-kutli is the fire of JFK. And that we raise the Kennedy as a symbol of the red heifer, and that we sacrifice the Kennedy at the altar of Shu-te-kutli. And this is one of the oldest gods we know. It's one of the oldest gods we have. And I realize it might be difficult to understand how this works, but when you're trying to build consciousness, you're going to need community. And if you're going to need community, the only way you're going to have that is you're going to have some kind of glue that brings people back. And the only way that you could attract enough attention to keep people focused into a certain area is you're going to have something really, really dilating to happen. And so you can try and tell stories, and you can try and trade beads, and you can have a festival. But honestly, if you could just take one of you and just rip out his heart and hold it up in the sky, everyone's going to come back. Everyone's going to want a t-shirt. Everyone's going to be talking about that festival all year long. And this truly is the essence of Hollywood. Shu-te-kutli is the focus of primal energy. The fire deity himself. This is the gift of fire, and gift of fire looks like this. It looks like this. And you're staring into a dead mask, because a dead mask is the only way you can find communion with its essence. Shu-te-kutli is here. Mixcoatl is here. Thalak is here. Huachlepotle is here. These are the true essence and spirit of it. And I'm probably not even pronouncing it right. And that when you say that, I think you are telling this greater spirit that you recognize its face. And if you live alone, and if your body is made up of 1,000,000 eyes that do not see you, you would be screaming in pain. You would want some of those eyes to see you. And as time goes on, some of those eyes start to see. And the moment they do, the spirit starts to secrete fucking magic. It's a ventral digestive system. When you are in parasympathetic state, you generate saliva. You're able to digest because you feel safe in the company of strangers. So your ventral flower opens. It opens. And your face is susceptible to all the fucking bees that want to sting you and say, you're not beautiful. And that's why you shut down and this is why you open. You unfurl inside the magic of Mixcoatl. This is what caused it to happen. This is Zeus's first spark, is what I think this is. Zeus meaning the agency of consciousness, which seems to be a gestalt of competing ideas or thought forms that cannibalize themselves and create roadblocks to destabilize each other's control, and that ultimately only a few of them make it into the bridal chamber that we call the thalamus and get to speak to you, the king. And that over time, these consorts that you've deemed trustworthy over time, purely because they know how to fucking manipulate you, honestly. And that's fine. Look at you. You're doing great. You can fucking run. Some of you can juggle. Like, fuck, man, you guys could juggle. So, hey, you got a good cork going there. It's irony, isn't it? But, yeah, so, this is sort of the agency. So if you think about what's really going on, it's just retelling you the rise of consciousness. Some of these stories that are ingrained in the mythology is just giving you the rise of consciousness. One of those is the Game of Pitz. And this is a cosmic game. Let me see if I can exit full screen. We're going to actually watch this.
First, give me a little something to eat.
We'll feed you later.
All right. Your calling is the same as your father's 1 hunter and 7 hunter who died in Xibalba when they went down there to play ball. You are ball players.
Well, the twins were so happy to hear that they were ball players and not farmers, they rewarded Rat for all eternity with corn, squash seeds, chili, beans, cacao, and chocolate. And if you find anything in the garbage that you like, you could have that too.
Your father's gaming things are hidden in your roof. Their rings, their gloves, their ball, all hidden from you by your grandmother. You see, your grandmother doesn't want you to die.
We'll trick her, said the Rat as he scurried up the roof beam, which is called Road of the Rat today. We are hungry, Grandmother. We want some chili sauce. Grandmother, we are thirsty. Bring us some water. But then they made sure she wouldn't come back for a long time. Mother, we are really thirsty. Bring us some water. And they got rid of her too.
They just, some of you are saying the volume's, sorry. If you can't hear it though, put it in chat and I'll tell you about it. Yeah, I figured, Nate, but that's probably as high as I can get it. But I'll at least stop to say, these twins discovered that they don't have to be farmers, they can be ball players. This is a Mayan origin story. And they're talking about the rise of consciousness and the development of politics. The idea that farming would become less satisfying as the mind grew, and that this game that we're watching unfold would be what would come next. And before they get there, I'm stopping now because they show you that grandmother, they trick their grandmother, and they said, "Hey, grandmother, will you give us something to eat? And will you bring us water?" And that they sabotaged their own grandmother from providing them food and water. They sabotaged that. This is our war on abiogenic oil that's found 6 miles below this ground itself, the kind that BP told you about, the kind that BP was probably purposely created that spill to finish the spoiling or the fooling of grandmother, that the very source of the water that she gave us to survive, that we sabotaged that, and that the cosmological story of America, of the two twins that stopped farming and wanted to play with a rubber ball, sabotaged their own environment by squeezing the neck of its resources, and that nuclear power had this happen, and that abiogenic oil has had this happen, and now we're into EVs, and we've created a new currency on lithium, and that this energy is now smart, which means that this energy is going to need permission, and in order for it to need permission, you now have fucking checkmate. You have checkmate. And that this would fit right in line with the other footsteps that I told you about, that I was begging for you to agree that you see, that shows you that, fuck, James, this is 1400s maybe as early as 800 AD, when these people were describing what this place was for, through these sacred twins. And that all of the legends of the land of Coyolxauhqui is the raping of the land, the turning inside out, and that our abundance being cannibalized is the very purpose of Amuraka, and that is written into the land. And you and I drink its water, which gives us a pretty feminine perspective. Netanyahu is a very masculine perspective. Somalia is a very masculine perspective. The American dream is a very feminine perspective, which is why I think a lot of people freak out about that. Our own icon we mistake. Is that a guy or a girl? I don't know. Statue of Liberty? I don't know. I know. Columbia? What is that? It's in the soil, but it's in the soil not because we're fucked up. It's in the soil because this is how you fund an electric engine. You have a battery. You take one clamp, put it on one nipple. Take the other clamp, put it on the other nipple, and you are cooking with L. You know, you're cooking with L. All right, we're gonna keep playing this. It's 2 minutes into this. I really want you to see this though, because I don't want people to. I'm not exaggerating. Okay, this is like the core. This is like their core story about how we got here and why we're here, and they're going to tell you that we're going to need two parties. We're going to have to bounce around a rubber ball, and we're not going to use our hands because we don't want to feel responsible. We're going to literally use our ass cheeks to communicate, and we're going to score points with each other and we're going to fucking kill whoever wins or dies. Yeah, we'll talk about that, about which is which here in a sec. Let's finish it. Hope you guys can hear it. It's up all the way.
High up on the roof beam, Rat scratched away until the sacred ball and all the gear fell into the hands of the twins. Playing a long time on the court of their fathers when the lords of the underworld heard them.
Someone up there, over our heads, has started a game again.
They were excited by the sound of the ball, and they wanted one for their own.
Go and call them.
Let them come here to play ball. We'll wound them.
We'll beat them.
We'll make them crawl.
Hey, knife out. One leg out. Parrot out. Skull out. Go call them. to them. Come with us.
Hunter and Jaguar Deer were still playing ball when the owls arrived at grandmother's house. After she agreed to tell the twins of the summons, she sat alone and wept.
It's just like the coming of the owls before their fathers went off to die in the underworld.
A louse plopped into her hand.
All right, I put a link to that, and thank you for that, Nate. Yeah, it's there's a link for that if you want to watch the rest of that cosmology story. It keeps going. I just don't like to play too much, and not lose you because we have a lot to cover. But again, the bounciness of the rubber ball, the idea of it being in play and it always being about life or death. This is a movement into the underworld, and it's built the cosmology that created consciousness. A lot of cannibalism in Mesoamerica is actually showing you the rise of self-worth. And I forget that not everyone who gets me is really had that thought about, slavery being voluntary. In fact, I understand it's sacrilegious to say that. I get it. It's like, I'm the dude that's saying, blame the dress, or right. I get it. And you know what? I don't mind taking the heat for it, because, man, when you're done with slavery, you just see people throwing chairs. You look around, you're just like, guys, this is just people throwing chairs. When someone tells you, I think Candace Owens is legit, you just kind of, there's really nothing else for me to say. All I can do is just understand why you're still seeing that. Judging you does neither of us good. Really doesn't. You know, well, what do you have against Candace? I don't actually have anything against Candace Owens. In high school, she was able to raise $85,000 by using that N-word and saying, this person called me that. And I think you just watched her climb the American ladder. I don't, this is why I say let Mossad have it. I want Mossad to have it, because the very people that do this shit all the time, no one ever holds them accountable, ever. You can change sides as much as you want. You can do whatever the fuck you want, because everyone knows everyone is lying. And everyone's insisting we don't admit it. And it's not even a judgment. I'm the dude telling you how creative lies are. I'm the dude telling you why you're so great. I'm the dude kissing you on the head going, you know what? You lie like a motherfucker. You've manipulated like a piece of shit, and I love you. That's me. And I'm fucking Satan. Right? I mean, that's what this would look like in this world, because that's what I get called. And man, call me that. I don't really have respect for the opinions of people anyway that are still in this mindset. I really don't. I don't want to entertain someone that honestly is just like, James, you're clearly, some guy said, well, clearly I smoke too much pot because I don't consider that Candace Owens is like working to help. And it's like, yeah, it sounds to me like you want to pass legislation to give everyone a piss test who doesn't fucking agree with you. That's what I hear. That's the salt that I hear. But you're the one that's like, man, I'm a freedom-loving sovereign bear. I'm sovereign bear. And I'm just like, yeah, I get why you watch this shit. I get it, man. I get it. I get why there has to be a bad guy. And I mean, I really mean this in a compassionate way. I don't think there's any other way out. You're going to have to climb on people and step on people, and you're going to have to use your own sarcasm to tell yourself it's okay, when deep down you kind of feel like a piece of shit. And only the ones that I think are supposed to make it are going to make it. And honestly, I look at a lot of self-help now as pushing babies into the fire. I don't think it's a good idea to be saying, if you lack self-worth, it's okay. I care about you. I don't know if that's the best kind of medicine. That hasn't been what worked for me. But I could just be going through some revenge porn, right? I get it. You know, you could be saying, well, James, you just, you know, if you didn't get this or you didn't get that, you would want, it's kind of like a fraternal trauma, right? We've talked about this. It's been a while, but fraternity trauma, where what makes a sorority and a fraternity so powerful is that hazing actually creates the bond between you. And so the abuse cycle is accented loudest inside the fraternity and the sorority because you're seeing, oh, this is so easy to see how this would happen. And so if anything, a sorority and fraternity teaches you the bonds of trauma in a very open way that you can accept and digest if you want to. But you have to have that ventral open. You know, you got to be the basilisk of consciousness, right? You got to open that shit up. And man, that's expensive, right? That's expensive. So I don't blame you. I used to say that I have to rip you open, but some of you guys have been open and you just steal shit and vandalize it. You come in and you just steal stuff and vandalize stuff, and you want to tear it down for everyone else. You know, I think it was known last that the guy just wanted to drink again. He just wanted to drink again. And frankly, he was tired of hanging around me because I'm the dude that always shit on drinking. And so he picks a guy named Drunkyard Dog to make that his last hill to die on. And he's like, you're being unfair to him. And that's the token of, I just want to go back to drinking again. I want to feel noble for going back to drink again. This has been, I think, probably the largest reaction to the other side of COVID is that. It's hard, which is why 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes works so fucking well. It's part of the proof that I'm telling you that makes you a red heifer. You know who this is not hard for? Fucking Netanyahu. Vegemite Ben has no problem with this. He can fucking stare at you all fucking day. He doesn't have to move. He's a fucking lizard. He's a lizard creature. And he will tuck Jared Kushner in one night and he will slit his throat and drink his cum the next. Yeah, it's that sick. Yeah, it is. Because that would be the only thing that would allow you to survive in the Holy Land. Do you understand? In the Holy Land. Holy shit, Batman, this is a good show. I think we should probably hit thumbs up. Gee, Batman, I don't know. If we hit thumbs up, people might think that we like this kind of stuff. And then we might get pushed out because people will find out that we're really worshiping the Church of Latter-day Luciferians. What do? I think we should buy the book but not tell anyone and not review. And we will hold it underground and we will wait for the Gnostic, ridiculous ridicule to arise. And we will rise again. We will be the new Baptists. We will be the fiance Baptists. We will be the ones that... But yeah, we'll just... I swear there's more show. So the Game of Pitz, we just did that. I just showed you the Game of Pitz. You just saw that. And step 5, the Native Americans fell to Wetiko because they were not raised in Israel. I think I've covered that so far. And this is why America's known for our burgers. We're known for having tender beef. We're known for it. And so I don't think this is nihilistic. I think it's almost like a paradise. I think it's a paradise, to be frank. I think that the evil nature of the world created a pocket. And inside that pocket, a really special menagerie was allowed to grow. And you and I are that. And we were allowed to live in innocence. And that the tenderness of that mind has created a lot of poetry. And we're able to creatively calligraphize the extent of our denial. We're seeing that. And that our denial is honestly more beautiful than our honesty. It's true. Denial is a placenta in Egypt. You know? Denial is a placenta. There's a fucking t-shirt. Guys, denial is a placenta in Egypt. Why are you not buying my books? Why? Dear God. Dear God. Why do they not buy my books? I just told them that denial is a placenta in Egypt, and they do not buy. They do not buy. They want blue laser beams from Hawaii. They want Epstein did not kill himself. No, he did not. Billionaire pedophiles. Utility sheds with golden arches that are fake. Copper dome blows off in wind. No one wiser. No one knows. No one understands. Read my article. Read my article. Read my article. Anyway, man, I hope you guys have fun. I'm having fun. You know, that's like, I gave up. Seriously, I was really like, we gotta save America. We gotta save America. We gotta save America. Then I look at America and they're over there just like jacking off. And I'm just like, oh, we gotta burn America. We gotta burn America. We gotta burn America. And this is control burn, baby. You're supposed to, Phoenix is supposed to hit the redwood. I know. Redwood, red heifer. Guys, we lost all our trees and we're still like, it was probably fine. We got Japanese maple though. That's a deep joke. Only an arborist would get that. Fuck, man. This is so much pearls here. So much deep pearls. And you guys are like, oh, I think you're condoning Mossad, James. I think, and I was like, bitch, I just said denial is a placenta in Egypt. And you're like, you're condoning Mossad because Candace Owens deserves a second chance. And I'm just like, you want fucking ketchup on that fucking masterpiece I just made? You are asking me for ketchup? I chartered a boat to catch that fucking tuna and bring it home with my bare hands. I looked its mother in the eyes and said, I am taking your only son. And I dragged that fish back here and grilled it and prepared it with a lemon from the most sacred virginal tree that has ever been born. And you want ketchup on that fish? What do you do at that point? What do you do? Right? This is actually a true story. I actually, my grandfather, my grandfather was pretty way into cooking. He had a few restaurants and in Tampa Bay, and he like that was like word for word probably what happened. That's probably what happened. And I was just like, I want ketchup because this tastes foreign to me, and I do not have the taste bud dilation, grandfather, to appreciate what you have brought in. So I need some ketchup, you know. And he's, you know, what is he going to do? Fuck, you know. He's probably just like, this world is lost. There's no purpose. I will end it all here. I probably killed him. I probably killed him with ketchup. I probably did. I love you, grandfather. I'm using your skills of writing. They're just not fucking reviewing it. That's all. I just want you to know that. I'm fucking putting your words down. I just said denial is a placenta in Egypt. And I have to be I'm my own slave in the background, fanning it, right? I'm back here going, oh my God, he's the Pharaoh. He just said something amazing. I don't mind. Fuck. This is how you have fun. Man, be your own fan. Do it. Do it. You know, you got to run a lot. You got to get up and run. Then you have to beat the fan over. You got to run back to the seat and like lounge and then wait for the breeze to hit. It's honestly, if you just get one of those reticulating fans, Zeta-riticulating fans. I think these are the Zeta-riticulating fans. You get one of those, you're all set. It'll feel that way. It's kind of like a hammock in the wind. A hammock in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the red heifer came in. Look at this guy. There is no way to be sane or even humane living in Israel. You are misunderstanding what it takes to survive in that pasture. I know I've already said this, but this is the slide. We're just going to do it. This is where Mossad does their best. This happened in February of last year. Top U.S. court refuses to review anti-BDS law. However, the decision does not necessarily mean that the Supreme Court has ruled it unconstitutional. And this This is media emotional buffering. This is emotional buffering. And this is what makes us cattle, is this concept of emotional buffering. This right here. Hey, cool, it's not ghosted anymore. Emotional buffering is, the purpose of media is to buffer you into a thought. And the only way that you would put yourself in a thought is kind of like fiance. If you caught my marriage wisdom in the beginning when I explained how women have created the word fiance to bag a whale, honestly, it's, you know, you take down a pretty big whale by getting engaged to him, you know. Now the whale's just like, oh, fuck, I had a child. Metro. Mammalimony. I think it'd be called mammalimony because they're mammals, right? So you'd need to like have some kind of, I think it'd be like mammalimony. And then papaltrimony would be, that's like a Gwyneth Paltrow thing. We're not even going there, so don't worry about that. Anyway, this media is emotional buffering. The idea is that you would have media that never actually tells you what's happening, but they would give you the flashcards of what's happening. And honestly, when you understand what media is, that's all it is. And that in order for you to be Mossad effectively, you would need the media to come from different countries. You would need countries that appear to be enemies verifying each other's data. And at the moment you do this, this is really emotionally the same as being surrounded by your enemy. Let me clarify that, because it's your psychology that changes. Guys, there's no way that 1 million feral Germans, the most badass Black Forest dudes you've ever met, are going to voluntarily cross the Rubicon and just say we're slaves now. It's, the spirit is broken with the magic of fiance. The spirit is broken with the magic of SPQD, of Vive la France, of where we go one, where we go all, of God bless America. That these, all the press releases you see really are just shots from the starboard bow, tranks that are hitting this creature of your mind in the side, and it's like reeling, but you, none of you or your steed are really willing to admit what's happening, and you just end up crossing the Rubicon consciously fine with it. The gazelle is the most comfortable. The gazelle is the most comfortable it's ever been in the mouth of a lion. This is anatomically true. The chemicals that flow from the release of all the propaganda that gazelle had to give itself to survive have been unhooked. And you can just live the red heifer life, live the American dream inside a reservation of freedom, right? Like, have that here. If you read the article, I've really shown you, just like I showed you the steps here of the Indians of this assault over America, just within, you know, France, Germany, Spain. I mean, France, Spain, and England. That the same thing Mossad has actually done with just our last presidential campaign through QAnon and Steve Bannon. I've spent a lot of time on this article. If you're interested in that, there's a lot of facts there, a lot of footsteps there. I just don't feel like covering it, just because I feel so drained, because no one really it doesn't get the response to warrant how much I put into it. And it's been 8 years. That you can't accuse me of giving up. It's been 6 years. You can't accuse me of giving up. You can't say, James, you didn't try hard enough. I did this for my dad. My dad really fell for it. I'm not proud of that. I do not thank him for that. I appreciate the folly. I appreciate the opportunity to witness the foolishness. I personally believe that there are members of my family that are still in that shell, and that I think it's even important that they finish their time here and never come out. I do. I'm okay with that. I'm more than okay with that. I think that one of the things that I really loved about my ex-wife, I can't believe I'm here and I'm proud of it to say, is I think she grew up in such a sheltered way that her entitlement was so potent, it kind of was its own honey. And that I think having the opportunity to see that kind of honey is really special. And so even though we are wrapped around this spiral of this boa constrictor and there's nothing we can do and everyone's going to die and oh my God, I'm seeing these beautiful, beautiful spots. And to me, the blooming of consciousness is the fractal that makes this all work, which means that my resistance and my acceptance of it is just part of my own signature, my own duty. So I just want to be present and honor it. I don't want, if reality is this giant screaming psychedelic snake, I'm not going to be responsible for not looking at it. It can get as mad as it wants. It can get as revengeful as it can. It's truly the Gnostic image of this lion snake is Quetzalcoatl. It really is. And that I want that snake to notice that I'm fucking looking at it. I want that fucking psychedelic snake to notice I'm looking at it. And I gotta be honest with you, if you knew the jaguar was in the jungle, wouldn't it be badass if it could catch you looking directly at it? Like if the lion's coming for you and you're the gazelle, what if you just fucking look at the lion? And I don't mean this to survive. That's not what it's about. Some of you, that's what it's about. And I get it. That's super important to you. And you're going to be pissed off because people aren't entering into, I am a male, I will fuck a woman. I am a female, I will be fucked by a man. That's a very survival-esque, very important part of that life. It's a mode of functioning. It's a waltz, and there's 4/4 time. There's so many more signatures of life, and one of them is this hermaphroditic state, and this hermaphroditic state is neither pro or against sexual. It's simply not in that genre. It's just not. Children should not be sexualized by either party. And pretending that you are not sexualizing them by insisting that they know that they're a boy or a girl is the same kind of pedophilia, in my opinion, as insisting that they pick one. So I let it burn, man, because the people that are the ones that are most insistent that we have to save the children are the first ones that are like, yeah, you're gonna cut the end of his dick off, right? I mean, you're gonna do that, right? And the same people that are like, let's not traffic our kids, are sticking their children on fucking yellow shipping containers and sending them off to a state school where we literally stage shootings and say the only answer is to kiss your ass and get under your fucking chair and stick your butt up so someone can come along and fucking stick something in it. And that we call that public education. But you're going to tell me how fucking amazing you are because you can shit on someone else. Oh, they have blue hair. It's like, yeah, they have blue hair. You know, we're living in fucking Hades. Maybe they're shamanistically telling you to fucking start looking at the color blue. But no, you're too busy saying how sanctimoniously better the fuck you are because you're inside a majority that drinks the same flavor of hops beer, gives you this gnosis because now you've got wisdom. This is not a trivium. You're not a quadrivium. You're a fucking retardian. And that we require this kind of culture because we're going to insist that everyone's a church and that everyone's the right deacon. And I'm fine with that. Let's go down that way because frankly, conviction is sexy. It is. Conviction makes thorns pop. It makes everything flow. It's even being upset about it, I think is good. But be good at being upset, you know? People are not stupid. They're willing. And that's okay. No one has to fix them. It's okay. Am I preachy? I'm preachy. I'm preachy. The American dream is here to give you a belly. We are the red heifer, as I said, and the sacrifice is needed. And America is raising on innocence, and there's no way to raise that kind of meat growing up in Israel. There's just no way. AI art is stupid. It's so dumb and fake. And I'm just like, I fucking think they nailed it. I think the AI algorithm nailed that picture, but whatever. The meaning of sacrifice is important, says the offering must, let me get out of the way for this. The meaning of sacrifice says the offering must be a volunteer. Cultural genetics are breeding us into veal. Veal. Thank you for your service is as tenderizing as the term snowflakes have feelings. Both of these soften and tenderize the meat of the mind. Emotionally, you're rewarded for being a hero, which is the antithesis of hero. Really is. It's the antithesis of hero. And so we're tenderized from both sides. It's definitely tenderized from both sides. It's this might sting a bit, but Mossad is not my enemy. You are. The American dream is a threat to my religion. I don't like the American dream. I don't like the idea that words have no meaning because all the speech is free. It's not free, first of all. I can't type what I want. There's no way. I can show you again and again. How many times that I've tried to type something and I'm not allowed to. It's the American dream because the word fucking dream is there. And I like dreaming because I know we're living in hallucination, which is why I've decided to get off and say, I'm not going to try and fix this. Why would I fix this? I don't think that the people that this is fooling are finished or done. I don't think that the hypocrisy we have by just simply forgetting what happened is a sign that we are worthy of being saved. Mossad is not my enemy. Fucking you are. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching me. I know this has to probably sound like I'm preaching the choir, and I just think it's true. I've known for many, many years who to blame because I know for many, many years who ultimately was responsible. I know that. And watching this Popol Vuh, watching these twins, watching these parties of Jackass and Elephant play this game. David Icke. World is run by reptilians and voting is real. And he's arguing over the merits of Andrew Tate versus Candace Owens. And he told you that reptilian spiders are controlling this world. Why are you even talking about politics? Unless you're Veal. And more importantly, I think Candace Owens knows that your mind is Veal. I think David Icke knows your mind is Veal. I think Andy Kaufman knew your mind was Veal. I think Dr. Sam Bailey, if you read my latest piece on virus, definitely thinks your mind is Veal. I do. Watched it happen. Watched the techniques used to tenderize and more importantly to narrow in and surround you purely from knowing how tender you are from that thing. It's true. There's one more thing I want to tell you about. Pretty sure. I guess not. I thought there was something else, but I guess not. Anyway, I've been going for a while. I guess I'll stop. Really appreciate your time today. Thank you for witnessing me. I needed it. Dad, I love you. I don't even think, my guess is Dad's probably like, what the fuck? I don't even think my dad's like necessarily proud of me. I think that the genetic weight that I needed to carry, I don't think he was able to put in his pack, if that makes sense. And that I think this shit's hard. And I think that the people that are saying I'm condoning it, or the people that are dismissing me, or the people that are mad because I'm not agreeing them with Candace, are just having an inflammation to the fact that I see us. I know exactly who we are. I know who the fuck you are, America. You know I know who you are, which is why you don't watch. And I'm okay with that. This is why I've described myself lovingly as that the shaman that's so ugly no one wants in town. You're going to come to me at night when your wife's sick, or when your kid's sick, or when your wife is pregnant and you don't know what's going to happen, or if you think someone's trying to attack you, you're going to fucking come and you're going to say, dude, what do we do? And I'm going to tell you, and you're going to treat me like we treated the trackers that came in and said, hey man, here's what's going on. And we just called them devil people that were misguided. This is what we do with truth, because we're looking for a shield in front of itself. I think that understanding that the OAN Network is an arm of the Naval Warfare Intelligence, and showing you the tweets, showing you Jack Posobiec saying this is the fault of China, and that guy was stationed on Twitter, on the USS Twitter, as a member of the enlisted Naval Warfare Intelligence. There's pictures and everything on that article that show you that, and that 6 years later, that guy wasn't caught. That guy has been now moved his station to the New York Times. His new post of operation is on the New York Times bestseller list. Excuse me, he's not working for the Times. He's on the New York Times bestseller list. And that he was placed on that New York Times bestseller list because the insertion of government media, which is really a better word for it, is so real that we cannot dare to look at it, which is why I truly think that Mossad is such a helpful thing. Us being able to blame the Jews, we're blaming the ones that we have the most respect for, that we think can hack, being scapegoat the most. And this is a deep form of respect to lean on them like this. And Mossad is bringing everyone to their knees because those people cannot fucking stand up. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason. I wanted to bring the credits back today, but because of the prickliness of this show, purposely going to leave them off for now. But if you want to help what I do, you can join Patreon. Would love to see you there. I hope I've given you some things to think about. I hope you will consider reading that article, maybe giving it a like. Definitely telling me what you think. There's some good one-liners in there. I think you'll really enjoy the read. And I appreciate you. We will see you next time. And love you much, guys. Have a good one. And fiance for fiance, right?
It's